What is going on, Nuggets Nation, NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back to another episode of Nuggets Today, presented by Fan Arch. Terrible day to cover the Denver Nuggets. Luckily for me, I guess there are some things that are positive as well as some things that are negative. If you are new, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well as leave a comment down below. If you're returning, thanks guys for checking it out. Denver just lost to the worst rated offense in the entire NBA. The defense was atrocious. Another 130 points allowed. You only put up 121. Like I said, they're positive. Spencer Jones was a massive factor in this game, even being close. 28 points, 5 rebounds, 11 for 15, 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. He also, only one turnover. He was unconscious from the field in the first quarter. I think he started the game either 5 for 5, 6 for 6, 7 for 7, 8 for 8, whatever the case may be. Second highest scorer on the Nuggets. And listen, he's good. He's a pesty defender. We all know that. You needed to see a game like this out of somebody like him who's that good of a defender. Just because right now he's the only option Denver has. Denver's bench is very thin, and that's something we'll get into in a little while. But Denver's bench is very, very thin. And they're sort of dealing with a lot right now, injury-wise. Actually, this first graphic is messed up. You'll see in the second graphic what it's supposed to look like. But he needs to be able to show up offensively. Same thing with guys like P. Watt, Cam, who had a very bad game. P. Watt, who's been playing decent, 15 points again today. You need these guys to pull through because right now the bench is atrocious just because of how much depth is missing. You're missing AG, you're missing CB, two of your main scorers, your main offensive players. And then you there's another injury sustained tonight. I'll get into that in a little while. But yeah, like Spencer Jones, great game. It was so nice to see him really have that confidence in being able to shoot the ball. And I'm not sure if there was any conversations that went on between him and Jokic, where Jokic was just giving him the ball and he was just letting it fly. And I think that's exactly what you needed from him. You needed him to be able to come out and really just take the shots he wanted, to be the guy who can just do everything for the Denver Nuggets, and he was able to do that tonight. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get it done. Some missed shots late in the game, which sort of definitely hurt, not sort of hurt, which definitely hurt them. Misses his only 2 threes. I believe late in the game he missed the 2 threes, which were the only 2 misses from the 3-point line for him. So overall, tough game. But it is nice to see that there is some positive, especially in a guy who's on a two-way who Denver can sign for the remainder of the season if they're able to open up a roster spot, which I think they still have their one roster spot open. I think this is what they were waiting for. But I also think that there may need to be a potential move for the Denver Nuggets, and I'll get into that in a little while. Like I said, the Nuggets sustained an injury. This is the first graphic that was supposed to be there, which wasn't. That's on my end, and I apologize. But Jamal Murray goes down and does not look good for Jamal or Denver. You're missing 2 starters already, and for Jamal to go down, he played 26 minutes. He suffers an ankle injury, goes 10, 4, and 9. 9 assists. There's again all good things. He turned 3 turnovers, so he turned the ball over a little bit too much. But he suffers an ankle injury. He attempted to play through it. You saw that he got back on defense and just stood there. There was nothing he could have done, even on the offensive side. And when you lose Jamal, when you're already missing 2 starters, come the end of a game that you need a clutch shot or a couple clutch shots, what are you going to do? You're turning to guys who probably shouldn't be in at that point where you need clutch buckets. And one of those guys was Bruce, and Bruce had an atrocious game. And for him to be in the game late like that, I think that DA needs to make the right adjustments. But this is also a massive loss for Denver because at this point you're going to have to play everybody that you sign this offseason in the Summer League. It's going to have to be Curtis Jones, Tamar Bates, Zeke Naji, who's been there, Pickett, Tyson. We might see Jalen Pickett get more starts because if it is serious, they said it was an ankle. I think it was Katie said it was an ankle sprain. So it's hopefully nothing too serious, but who knows what that could lead to or how much time. If he's missing 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of Denver maybe not getting any wins. And I'm not trying to be negative, but you're now starting a G leaguer, a guy who I don't think is competent enough to play at a realistic level in the NBA, and Jalen Pickett, Peyton Watson, who's one of the better bench players for the Nuggets, Cam Johnson, and Jokic. And I think that Spencer Jones has been great, but that's not a lineup that's going to win you games, especially against tougher opponents. So like I said, you just allow the worst rated offense in the entire NBA to put up 130 on you. Now, if you're missing Jamal for an extended time and you have no CB and no AG, not looking good for Denver, especially in the conversation of standings and where they will end up, being placed just because they are sort of banking on other teams to lose. I think, at the time of this recording, the Rockets are losing. Who knows if they win or not? But tough loss for the Denver Nuggets if he does not play more than, or if he does not, if he misses more than 2 games. Next thing I want to talk about is the defense. Like I said, atrocious defense, and I think that there may have to be a move made like now, which sort of sucks. And I got into a couple of conversations with buddies of mine, and we were talking about what would you do if you're Denver, who would you move, what potential moves would you make, and somebody brought up the idea of shopping Duran if you're not going to play him, and I sort of understand if you don't think he's NBA ready. If it's somebody that helps now, if it's a deal to somehow get Jose Alvarado and Saddiq Bey, I think you just do it. I think that those are 2 guys who are great. Saddiq Bey would be able to play defense. He could score. He's a good shooter. Jose's a guy who can also he could score a little bit, but he's also going to be able to replace that ball handler, roll off the bench. I'm not happy with Bruce this season so far. They won't move him just because he was a fan favorite, but I'm also at the point where, as a fan, I'm not that happy with Bruce. I wouldn't mind if they were able to make a trade and get something for him. I think that the only 2 players right now who I see as valuable on this bench are Jonas Valanciunas and Tim Hardaway Jr. Right? And that's not saying that Peyton Watson isn't valuable, but I mean on the bench currently. Like your bench of Tim Hardaway, who had 13, he shot 50% from the field. He only went 1 for 6 from the three-point line. Bruce Brown, who had 7, 4, and 2, and 3 for 9 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, and missed a bunch of layups at the end of the game. And Jonas, who 8, 7, and 2, and DA doesn't play him. He plays him 11 minutes. I'm not really understanding that either, but the defense was so bad, and you're running a lineup that's supposed to be defensive-oriented with Bruce there. And that's the thing. Like, Bruce at one point, Ryan Nembhard was wide open. I'll get to that. And you're running the zone, and he doesn't even try to get up. He sort of throws his hands up like this and lets Ryan Nembhard take the shot, and he knocks it down because Ryan Nembhard was torching us, and that's what I want to get into here, is that Ryan Nembhard had a great game. He also had 28 points. He had 10 assists, 3 rebounds, 12 for 14 from the field, 4 for 5 from the three-point line, and he had 4 fouls. Like, I believe that him and Spencer Jones just combined for the most points, individually actually, just had the most points by a 2-way player this year. Unconscious game for both of them, realistically. But, I mean, this is a guy who I talked about the Nuggets picking him up before the season started. I believe he went undrafted this year, if I'm not wrong, or he went late in the second round. But I was talking about Denver either trying to pick him up or try to trade to get him because I thought he could be a good player. His brother has the NBA experience. You know that he's able to play with guys who can play at that level, and he proved that tonight. And I think that there will probably be a conversation with him and the Dallas Mavericks at some point where he's either on the roster for the rest of the year or a team decides to make a trade for him because they think that he is a player that is competent and capable to make a impact in their rotation. So good for him. He had a dominant game. But like I said, I think that the Nuggets may have to transition to maybe trying to get Saddiq Bey and Jose potentially and making a move to really spark this team right now while people are injured. And if that means that you have to get rid of some assets, you have to get rid of some assets. Like I said, the only 2 people that, in my opinion, I'm holding on to right now off that bench are Jonas and Tim. And I think that if I'm the Nuggets right now, I have to shop people just because you don't want to overreact. But at the same time, God forbid there's an injury like this in the playoffs, you're sort of stuck with nobody on your bench. So that is all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. Like I said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. If you're returning, thank you guys for watching. And hopefully we see a Nuggets win in the near future and Jamal's injury isn't too bad.